are ready to go. Welcome to the Art and Hustle Podcast Gallery of Conversations. Welcome back here to my teacher, mentor, favorite English teacher, gardener, philosopher. Oh, my new guru for the day.
I was just going to say, and now you're turning me into your personal guru.
Yeah, my personal guru for the day. This will be Ask the Guru session today. So this is going to be, is this your 15th or 16th shirt? I can't remember now.
No, I think I'm going to say 14th. Okay. But I don't know because it's funny. You sent me, you had the link about the hobbies. I was one.
Yeah.
But I think that was before, well, maybe that was after my rant about the right-wing loonies and
yes
things and stuff.
Yes, because we have to put out the shooting and Roe versus Wade.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So those two are coming. So 13, 14, maybe 15, 16, maybe we're up to 16, maybe.
I don't think, okay, I would say no more than 15.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, but just so you know, whatever I do, whenever I wear a shirt to do, I have a special section. I go, okay, I use these shirts for the podcast. Okay, because otherwise I wouldn't remember. Because so many of them, they've got similar colors. They're all wild patterns, and I sometimes even I can't remember which is which or which ones I wore.
I know. Now, I'm keeping you sharp.
Okay. Now this one I know I didn't use. This is a silk one, and this is from the company called Honolulu Lulu. Okay?
Oh.
And I got this, guess where? Honolulu. Many moons ago. Yeah. So, okay, I am now ready to go.
I love it. Yeah, I like the color and the pattern, and it fits you nicely.
Yeah, thank you. There's some, I don't know if you can see it, some like orange in it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's mostly blue and white. It's like a light bluish. And I wear this, it's great with jeans, it kind of matches up,
Yeah, it's like a fancy casual dinner shirt.
This is it. This is my going out to dinner shirt.
I know, rayon and silk, right? Those are.
That's right. The silk or going out to dinner. I wear these. I have so many. I mean, I lost count of how many silk and how many rayon. Total count is 169, but
So in the when the weather gets warm, do you wear more of the silk and rayon ones?
When the weather gets warm, I wear the rayon ones during the day and whatever. And then I always wear the silk. Like I said, if there's a party or it's a dinner or we go out to dinner, I'll wear the silk, I only have those two I don't think I have anything else but rayon and silk. Maybe I've got some that are cotton. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I digress. Okay.
Okay, Guru. I wrote down like a bunch of random questions for you today. So let's see how many we can get through. What is your best advice for money?
This is something that I used to do with my university classes, especially because I was instructing future teachers of English. And I said, I once had an investment broker, and in fact, I guess he was the first one I signed with for an IRA. And given what my salary was at the time, and given what the projection was for that particular IRA and percentage rates and things like that, he said, you and your teaching colleagues, by the time you retire, will be millionaires. And that worked out to be true. And as in more than just millionaires. Okay.
Wow, that's great advice.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. And of course, what they did was they said, well, okay, a certain portion of your income every month, they'll take it out of your gross amount of money every month.
Now, is gross before or after taxes? I never remember.
That's the great part of it. It's before taxes. So
yes.
Your money, they take that out. On that money, you would be taxed. When they take it out and put it into the IRA, you're not taxed on that amount of money. Okay? So you save money that way. Okay. And then what happens is, for example, I've never cashed in my IRA. Plus, I have other investments. Okay, beside that.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is that when you get to be 70 and a half, if you live
Mm-hmm.
that long, then
Mm-hmm.
you must take a distribution. Usually,
Oh, yes.
usually it's 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say 10% of $500,000. You can do the math. All right, and so, a year. So, and then of course, the other issue I used to tell them, so I used to tell my student teachers, look, as much as you think it's going to hurt you financially, and as
Mm-hmm.
much as you may say, God, I can barely pay my rent, I can barely put gas in my car, stuff like that. This is where the sacrifice is sacrificing for the sake of the miracle of compound interest.
Yes.
Because a compound interest over a long period of time, if you leave that money alone, you don't touch it, it will amass. Now, years ago, if you were getting 4% on an investment like that, it was like, okay, that's fine. The interest has over the years had gone up, and then of course and I also had. I used to always tell them, if you can buy yourself a piece of real estate, even say it's only a condo.
Yeah.
I bought my bachelor condo is a one-bedroom condo.
Mm-hmm.
Sold it I used to rent it out once I married Ronnie. I said, okay, I'm not gonna live there. I rented it out for like 25, 30 years.
So
And when
when did you buy
I
that?
think probably in my mid 20s, 25,
Mm.
26. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Wow, that's amazing that you bought it then.
I'll tell you why, because first of all, the down payment was it was a condo, and they had like a ridiculously low deposit. It was, I'm gonna say 10%, but I think it was five. And it
Hmm.
was only 30,000 bucks. Well, when I sold it, I sold it for four times that. Okay.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, this is the other thing about real estate. Okay. That's why people buy homes, because most people's equity and most people's biggest asset is the equity in their home. Okay. So I've always owned another piece of real. Like, so I live in this house, but I still have another piece of real estate which is appreciating appropriately. I mean, so you have to diversify your investments.
Hmm.
Most
Hmm.
people with a half a brain, and especially the celebrities who's making millions upon millions, what they will do, and this is the key too. People say, "Well, I don't know about stocks. It's all numbers on paper." Yes, I agree. It's numbers on paper, and you are trusting that, uh, because America has always been, up until recently, a very stable democracy. I mean, the reason why America got prosperous was that other countries would invest in this country
Mm.
because we had stable governments. Okay,
Hmm.
so that means they weren't going to lose their shirt if the governments would belly up, or the new dictator nationalized, the corporations that they were investing in, stuff like that. However, celebrities and anybody with half a brain, the first thing they should be doing is buying themselves a piece of real estate, and maybe more than one, more than two. Uh, when you buy your first one, you buy it with the intention of living it.
Hmm.
Don't buy it with the intention of flipping it. Okay. A lot of people, I used to sell real estate, and I used to tell them, hey, look, if you're going to buy this to flip it, well, that's a different, that you're engaging in a different kind of situation. Now you're gambling. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
But you're assuming that it's going to it's going to increase in value because you're going to make certain changes to it, or just by. I knew a guy who he would build his houses. He would tell, he'd select contractors, things like that, have him
Hmm.
build the house. He would live in it for a year, maybe two max, and then he put it up for sale. And
Hmm.
in those days, he would make money because the appreciation was, solid. You could expect it to go up. Now, right now, uh, you know, housing prices were going through the roof, but there aren't. The stock is low. Okay, there
Hmm.
aren't that many that are available right now. But my point is that there are different things that people can do, but at the very beginning, it can sometimes hurt young teachers, young anybody who is, just starting to make their way.
Hmm.
Okay, and my parents weren't funding me, and it was like I said, okay, this is what I have to do to increase my financial wealth and worth.
Hmm.
So that's really it. I mean, it's not so much difficult as it is. It's difficult if you're trying to scrape together the money.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember there were times when all of a sudden things got a little tight. Okay, and I
Hmm.
would say, "Ooh, gee." But the point was, when you do the IRAs, going back to them, they always had a limit on how much you could contribute every year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then what happened with certainly with the teachers was they said, okay, in your last 5 years of before you retire, you can max out the savings. So let's say they only were allowing you to put away 10% a year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that under their rule, if you put in 20%, you could put in 20% the last 5 years. So that built up that investment,
Mm-hmm.
before you retired. Okay. Now, here's the other thing, and this is a problem with our culture. Okay. We're one of the only countries in the world
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't have, for example, paid sick leave, uh,
Oh.
you know, uh, uh, all kinds of stuff that other countries give their citizens because they care about their citizens. America does not care about its citizens. They give
Mm-hmm.
lip service to it, but they don't. If they
Yeah.
cared about citizens, first of all, unions, they would be building up unions. When I was growing up, and Biden says it all the time, and he's not wrong. This country, unions built this country, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they built financial security for the union members. As a consequence, they generally had health care, things like that. And what's happened is now, of course, so the Republicans were trying to stop that for a long time. What's happening now is unions are slowly but surely starting to make a resurgence. You can see what's happening at Starbucks and Amazon and other places. They're saying, "Hey, we want a union." Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so, if you because America people forget, yeah, we're all worried about losing our democracy, and we're going to lose it because the way people are, they're too dumb to realize they're going to continue voting for Republicans who don't really care about them. Okay, they think somehow, oh, they're law and they're certainly not law and order because if they were law and order, they'd do something about gun control and stop people being murdered. Like last night, I think it was on Wednesday, they had three more mass murders in one night. Okay, across the country, right? So, and other countries like Canada,
Mm-hmm.
they said, you know what? We're changing our rules, and they just passed a couple of rules last couple of nights. Other countries like Australia and stuff said,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we had some mass murders. They took 650,000 weapons off the streets in
Mm-hmm.
Australia, and
Yeah,
guess
it was interesting. Susie had posted a story in Instagram where it was really interesting, you know, how the gun control and how the lack of it is here. And she related it to prescription allergy medicine. I think it
oh,
was Claritin or whatever it is.
right.
So there's like a national list where you cannot take out more allergy medicine in a certain amount of time and you'll get stopped. So like I think she was visiting somewhere and she forgot her allergy medicine at home. So she tried to go to the store to get another one. And you can't because you're now on the list.
Okay,
You know?
I have one for you even better.
So why
The
can't they do that for guns? Like I don't understand,
Because
right?
first of all, you've got these senators, okay? Here, perfect example. Ted Cruz and his compatriots are so busy genuflecting at the crotches of the NRA. He's made almost, I forget how much they've given him, $750,000 already in his campaign. This is a scumbag who doesn't care about anybody but himself. He gives lip service. Oh yeah, I'm a senator. I care about me. Yeah. Meanwhile, when Texas was off the grid and they were freezing to death, he went off to Cancun. Okay. I mean, this is the kind of scumbag you have in government on the
Mhm,
Republican side. Okay.
mhm,
Uh, uh, he's among the worst of these politicians. Uh, there's a hierarchy. Mitch McConnell, to me, my mind, is the worst. Uh, Trump is too dumb. I mean, Cruz is a well-educated guy. So, but this is the problem: the more well-educated they are, then the worse they are, as far as I'm concerned.
mm,
Let's talk about Dante's Inferno for a change. Okay,
mhm,
when
mhm,
I taught Dante's Inferno to your classes, to high school students, what people forgot, there was like a lot of the religions, Catholicism being one of them, by the way, for a long
mhm,
time, would say, well, there's no gray. Well, the morality is morality. There's black and there's white, and there's no in between. What that was total hypocrisy and bullshit. Okay, because a lot of their theology was based upon the philosophies of Greek philosophers like Aristotle and Plato and people like that. So in Dante's hell, there were
mhm.
nine circles. Okay,
Yeah.
and the higher up you were, the sins were less heinous. So, for
Mm.
example, any sins involving the body,
Mm-hmm.
sexuality, things like that, they were up high.
Oh.
Okay, the deepest, the ninth circle of hell, the deepest, darkest, most disgusting, horrible place to be in hell, was reserved for the people who took the greatest gift that apparently human beings have apart from the other animals,
Mm-hmm.
which was intellect, was the mind. And
Mm-hmm.
why would they put down so low? Because they knew better, they distorted morality and what they knew to be good, they to exercise evil things. Okay, they
Mm.
were evil because they just distorted the whole
So
purpose.
manipulation.
People that the disgusting examples of the people's representatives for democracy. They've given up on democracy. Now it's about profit and power,
Yeah.
which brings me back to why, for example, these guys are rolling over for the NRA.
Yeah.
I was just reading a couple articles about the Second Amendment, and as heinous as I thought the Heller decision was, which was it was Heller versus I think Washington D.C. or something, and they said, well, everybody in this country can have a gun. Okay, well that was not necessarily when if you read it closely, that wasn't the goal really. Everybody was going to have maybe was going to have a gun, but it was supposed to be for a militia to protect the country from,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, the British taking it over again, or
Mm-hmm.
protect it from whomever. But when they did that, they also only had flintlock rifles and pistols. They
Yeah.
never foresaw
Not
AK,
automatics.
yes, these AK-47s and AR-15s. I mean, they would have been incredulous because they were smart people. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when you're going to be able to mow down dozens of people in one fell swoop, well, obviously that. And look, here's the other thing too. This is simple. It's a weapon of war. So what I'm trying to say is that this country is so screwed up because it's like I said, it's not. It's a capitalist country built on the notion of profit first, not democracy. Not
Yeah.
democracy.
Not the
People
people.
like
Mm-hmm.
idiots like Cruz will say, well, why do you think people come here? Like in other words, because they have the right to have a gun. No, they come here to make a profit. They come here to have a better life financially. Okay, and then a lot of people when they come here, as soon as they make their bones, they go back to where they came from. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or what they'll do is they'll stay and they'll send money to their relatives back in these other countries. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Now the problem is if they're minorities, they have to hope that they don't get shot on the streets by either the cops or
Yeah.
the
I'm
cops or the
afraid
government.
for, like my partner. I'm afraid for him.
Sure. I mean, listen, there's no question. And I just read it. Here's another thing. Talk about healthcare. I just read an article this morning
Mm-hmm.
about the high level of mortality among pregnant women,
Oh.
especially black women. Okay,
Mm.
out of about 480, I guess, births last year,
Mm-hmm.
65 women died. Okay, now here, what does that tell you? It tells you first of all, and the issue was that because of their color, they weren't getting
The care.
the care that they should have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's a bunch of reasons. Okay, for that. So I mean, our infant mortality rate in this country isn't. We're not number one in the world for having the least amount of infant mortality. We are down around number 20. I think the last thing I read was we're down around 27. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
people have to stop this notion of America's the greatest country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
No, there is no such animal as the greatest country. This is a country that's great in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The best thing about this country was the notion of the First Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh, and you could, and also the fact that you could develop a style of life where you could say, you know what, I'm not starving. I could feed myself, my family, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily true for everybody.
Yeah.
We're not the greatest country when it comes to healthcare in general.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're not the greatest country in terms of childcare, certainly, because
Mm-hmm.
we don't make any great effort to say, okay, we need for women who want to go to work or mothers who have no choice but to go to work. We don't have childcare facilities for them.
Yeah, and like when women have C-sections, they're only in the hospital for 3 days, which is like a complete joke to me. Like you're doing major surgery to cut the
right.
woman up,
That's
take
right.
the baby out, move like the organs and all of this, and you have to get out of the hospital in 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are so many things wrong right now. Every place I look, no matter what the area is. Let's even talk about teaching for a second. I mean, teaching was a career that I loved, and it loved me back. Okay.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
did it to the best of my ability, and much to my pleasant surprise, even shock. Uh,
That your students still love you.
yeah, I was just going to say that students like you respected me, showed me affection, made me think, oh wow, see, you're really good, and wow, we really need what you.
You made a difference. Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm,
now, by the way, I told you my backstory. No one was more surprised by that than I was, and
mhm.
I'm still surprised. You know, in the last few days, I have gotten calls, emails, visits from former students.
Really?
Since our last thing, one of my former students went and his wife went to Africa because she had a great job there.
Yeah.
He came back and came over to visit. He came to
That's
visit.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And every time he's able to visit, because he usually lives down south, he
Did
came to
did
visit.
they all see the podcast?
Well, it's funny. I gave him the links. You know, I gave him
Mhm.
the links. And I always tell people, hey, look, I did a lot of them. I'm sure you're not going to want to watch all of them. Well, not any of them. I won't be insulted. You know, but I just want to know that I want you to know they're out there. You know.
Mhm, mhm.
So then I got a couple of emails. I got a couple of Facebook things. You know. So I'm saying, gee, they still. First of all, that was so funny to me. They still believe I'm alive.
No, do they really say that?
No, no, they don't say that. But I mean, I think the
Oh,
fact that they do it just assuming I'm still going to be here. You know. And
oh, and
and
you're like,
that's
listen, people, I'm getting older.
well, this is it. I generally tell them, you know, what my age is because I'm saying, you know, because in their mind they're still thinking. I guess they're still thinking, well, whatever year they had me, whatever age I was at, you know, that's what I am.
Mhm.
So, and of course, I'm going to be. What's today? This is a Thursday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna be 77 soon on June
yeah,
22nd.
June 22nd. Yeah, I'll be 77. So, but and that's shocking to me as well. But my point is that I'm so saddened, so disappointed and so embarrassed by what this country has become.
Mhm.
Certainly, when I compare it to what it was like when I grew up, was it perfect then? Absolutely. This is why, absolutely not. This is why this idiot Trump, oh, make America great again. No, he made America worse than it's ever been, really. Certainly
Mhm.
in my
Mhm.
lifetime.
Mhm.
Okay, so he's
Mhm.
full of shit.
I
There's always
mean,
been a
the
lie.
real meaning behind "Make America Great" isn't that like "Make America White Again,"
You got it. That's
right?
the it is.
It's
Make
it's the
that's right.
underlining words to that "Make America
Yeah,
Great." You
I mean,
mean you want it white is what you want.
when these assholes like Tucker Carlson and all these other people, they
Mhm.
oh make the replacement theory. You want the truth? As a white person,
Mm.
if I knew that,
Really? You're white?
yeah, you never know, you didn't know I was white.
I'm
Okay,
shocked.
well,
Really?
here's the thing: as a white person, if I knew that the white people like Tucker Carlson, Mitch McConnell, you
Mhm.
know, Ted Cruz, I would be happy to have them replaced. I'd be begging if you are following the likes of a Trump, Ted Cruz, or a McConnell, you are as bad as they are. They are misogynist. They are racist. They are money grubbing. I know why because they're racist, and I know the people who every person I who know, and I've met a number of them recently on a
Mhm.
couple occasions I had to go to. They're white. A lot of them, and even some of the ones who are not ignorant, not well.
Mhm.
I know a lot of them are poorly educated, or only educated, let's say, at the high school level.
Mhm.
Uh, the reason why they're pro scumbags, like the names I mentioned, is because they are racist
They're
too.
racist. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
racist. In other words, they don't want to be around black people.
Yeah.
They don't want to be around Latino people. I
Yeah.
mean, they just don't want that. Okay.
Yeah, it's the myth and the brainwashing of like making these different colored people like bad. It's like the whole
Yeah.
myth of it.
Now I have to be honest with you, Linda. Now we've done a bunch of these, and I look at you, and I don't see in any way, shape, or form that you look yellow to me.
Right? Isn't that funny? Like, why
Yeah.
are Asians yellow?
Well, you know, I think a lot of times, a lot of Asians around the globe do have a darker skin color. Not
Yes.
that I would call it yellow, but to me, it
Mhm.
would be just like a tan, I guess. But then
Yeah.
again, that
I
puts
mean,
them in.
really, if you see me in person, I'm more white.
Yeah, well, yeah, I just saw it a week or so ago. The point of this that this is the other thing. Some of these things are such they're social constructs, and they're just total bullshit.
But the
And
other thing is that if you really think about the word yellow and yella, I mean, that started coming back from when the white plantation owners would rape the black
sure,
slaves, and those mixed children were called yellow. So that's yellow, and the blacks and whites didn't accept it.
well, a
So
lot
like,
of
is it similar to calling Asians yellow? Like, is it a
I
similar
guess. Well, for example,
line?
like they used to have a lot of these special vocabulary words for the different gradations and mixtures of black people, especially when they've been raped by white masters.
Yeah.
So if you were half white and half black, you were mulatto. Okay.
Hmm.
If you were like one of my favorites phrases, favorite words was, they would call you, and you mentioned it. They would you were an octoroon. An octoroon
Octoroon.
meant that you were one eighth black. You were more white than black. They also would call them high yellow or high.
Mm.
They were high yellow because they were so not they were so white looking,
Oh, they were more just a
or
tint, just a
yeah,
tint of it.
or like reddish, almost like a lot
Mm.
of them would maybe have red hair and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So they had all these different uh, vocabulary words for the different mixtures. Okay,
Hmm.
so but again, they still we're all missing the point. We've discussed it before. You're either Homo sapiens or you're not.
Yeah, we're all Homo sapiens. We're all the
No.
same.
So, but here's what the problem is in America too. Just like we Northeasterners, we will watch TV or meet people who are from the South, the West, and they have obvious accents that are different. They don't speak like those of us in New York, or they don't, or
Hmm. Hmm.
the people in Boston, or the people in San Francisco.
Hmm.
They have a drawl or whatever.
Hmm. I
Well,
mean, Long Island technically has an accent, but you don't have it, and I purposely
yeah,
lost mine.
yeah. I was told I was told a long time ago by somebody in the entertainment field. He said to me, "You have like kind of an he had there was a phrase he used I can't remember, but the issue was that my accent was kind of an objective English speaking accent. It didn't have
Hmm.
like I didn't sound like a Bostonian.
Yeah,
I didn't sound like a
a Long Islander
yeah,
or a New Yorker.
or Brooklynite. I
Yeah,
mean,
Brooklyn.
like or somebody like a Queens Jewish person. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I said, well, that's probably a good thing. And I always felt that I was always concerned about how what my accent was. Okay.
Hmm.
So, and I think that's the problem. The problem is when they hear black people. Look, you have, as I have, dealt with a lot of black people, especially let's say they're on the telephone. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
you would never know that they're black. They don't quote sound black unquote.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
speak their accents are like mine or like yours. Okay,
Hmm.
but people think that somehow all black people speak Ebonics. Okay,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Nonsense like that. Okay, uh,
That's because what they see on TV.
yeah, partly. The other part of it is too. I used to always laugh myself silly at the ignorance of the Americans who would say this. They want quote English only in America. In other words, if you're going to be here and living in America, okay, whether you're a citizen or not, you need to be speaking English. Okay, not your native language. If you were Spanish, Spanish or me Italian, they would say, hey, English. Okay, if you want to be an American, you got to say English. Okay, and then I'm thinking, you don't realize how willfully ignorant and absurdly stupid you sound because in all the best, more sophisticated countries in the world, people speak way more than one language. They speak
Hmm.
anywhere from two to six. Okay,
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
you go to Switzerland. I remember I was in Switzerland a while back. I've been there a couple of times, and of course, my biggest thing was, well, okay, do I speak English, French, Italian, or Spanish? Yeah, and by the way, there are other languages that they speak in Switzerland. Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
because they've always been neutral, and they're really a small country. Okay, but they have to have more than one language because those countries are small and close together. In order to communicate with the country next door, you need to know that language. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's a mark of, and there's no question. It's the more languages you know, probably the more cuisines you'll know, and
Hmm.
that's what makes you understand the other,
Yeah.
this other nationality, this other ethnicity,
Hmm.
and that level of this understanding dispels ignorance, and ignorance is what causes bigotry and hatred. I mean, this
Yes.
to me is
Yes.
so the equations is so obvious that it. How could you not notice it? How could you not know it?
Yes.
So how did we get into this conversation? I'm trying
So
to think.
here, listen. So I think it's hysterical.
We
Anyway,
answered
answered one question.
No, no, come on, no, no. Okay, we can go to the next question. Go to the next.
No, but no, I just wrote down a whole bunch, and then I wanted, just to see like what we would get through. But I don't have like, it's not super crazy to get through all of them. I know I want to see like if I ask you one, how many do I need to keep you busy in a conversation?
You
And I was
only
looking
need
at the
one.
clock,
You only need one with
and I
me.
only had one, and I looked at the clock, and I'm like, well, technically we can stop right here with the first question and then move on to the next shirt. Bye, nice talking to you.
Goodbye.